Case 2105, Davey versus Miller. All parties, please step forward.
Melissa Davey is suing her ex-boyfriend, Joseph Miller, for an unpaid loan.
Mr. Miller, I think I'm going to start with you today, just because I have to kind of shake it up for myself. Otherwise, I get stale. You and Miss Davey were sort of in a relationship for a brief period of time.
Yes, Judge.
Never lived together.
No.
There came a time when you wanted a new car. Not a new car, but a better car.
Yes.
You wanted a better car because you wanted to use that car as a driver for Uber.
Yes.
And you needed a down payment.
Yes.
And according to what I've read from Miss Davey, and what you seem to acknowledge in your answer, Miss Davey loaned you $1,200.
That is correct.
Things didn't work out, which happens. You paid her back $300.
Yes.
Did not pay her back $900.
Correct.
So that would make it easy, except that you have a defense.
Correct.
And I'm going to let you tell me and the rest of the world what that defense is and show the world what a prince of a guy you are.
I hope I can do that.
You're no longer together.
Correct.
You owe her $900.
No.
Well, you just acknowledged that you paid her $3 and you owed $9 because she gave you $12.
I owed $9.
I said at that point you owed $9. You're no longer together.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I misheard you then.
Okay. Well, I sympathize with that because I do a lot of mishearing myself. But what I said to you was, at the time you broke up, you owed her $900.
That is correct.
Now you're going to pick it up from there and tell me and the rest of the world what your defense is. Because I read it. I just want to hear it from you.
All right. At the time of our breakup, you are correct. I did owe Miss Davies $900 and had told her that I would continue to pay on the debt that was owed.
Okay. And what was the month and year of your breakup?
End of April, maybe?
End of May.
End of May?
May.
Okay. End of May, broke up, owing $900. And you said?
I tried to be cordial and have conversations periodically with Miss Davies, and they did not go well. And then Miss Davies had to put her...
No. You tried to have conversations with her with a view towards what?
Just to reassure her that I was going to pay her back the rest of the money.
Okay, so she would call you and say, where's my money?
No, I would send her a text and kind of chat, and then I would give her a quick call and say hello, and we would have just a little chat every now and then, just to remind her that, hey, I will pay you back the money.
That sounds so off, Mr. Miller. People don't usually call an ex-girlfriend who they owe $900 to and say, hey, by the way, I know I'm going to pay you back the money. I just need a little time. That usually comes from the other side contacting them and saying, I would like my money.
Typically, you are correct that most people, if you owe the money, you don't contact the person that is owed the money. I didn't want her to do that. I didn't want to have her come to me and be like, hey, where is my money?
Okay, so you break up the end of May. Did you give her any money in June?
I gave her one in April and one in July of $154.
So at the time that you broke up, you had only given her $150.
Correct.
Later on, she kept bothering you. You were reassuring her. And in July, you gave her another $150.
Correct.
Keep going. I still get $900.
Melissa Davey claims her ex-boyfriend, Joseph Miller, owes for an unpaid loan.
I still get $900.
In July, she had to put her dog down. And
So that was in mid-July?
I believe, yeah, about the...
July 11th.
So you'd already given her the other $150.
Yeah, and...
So she called you and said...
She sent me a message that said, hey, I'm going to do this. So I called and she's like, hey, I'd really, really like you there.
I can't, the last couple of words you just sort of muttered, sir. I don't know why you sort of muttered them. She called you and said...
I would really love to have you there. I don't want to do this alone. I would really appreciate if you would come.
Okay. And did you think of that as a reasonable request?
Yes and no.
Okay. Did you agree to go?
After we talked...
No. I want you to tell me what she said and what you said.
She said that she would do anything.
No. I really want you to go. And this is on the phone. That's what you told me. This was on the phone.
Yes.
So you didn't say that she could see on the phone. She said, I'd really like you to go. And you said what?
I think that could be worked out.
Okay. I think that could be worked out.
Yes.
And then what's the next thing that was said and by whom?
I believe she said that I would do anything to have you there. I don't want to do this alone.
Well, you told me that before. After she said, I really don't want to do this alone. I would really like you to be there with me.
And I said...
And you said, that could be... What did he say? That...
He said, Okay, I think that could be worked out.
I think that could be worked out. Okay, so that's what you said. And then who said something after that?
She said that she would do
She already said she would do anything.
Yeah, she would even relieve my debt.
She said that, or did you?
She said that.
She said it?
Yes.
Okay, because that's what his answer was here.
Okay.
And so then you said to her, fine, I'll go with you. And you went with her, and you spent 3-4 hours there while the unfortunate business of an end of life for a beloved pet takes place. And prince that you are, you relieved yourself of the $900 that you owed her.
Yes.
Just for my own information, how long did you and Miss Davy date or have a relationship? A month, 2 months, 3 months?
4 months.
4 months. Did you get close?
Tried.
Both of you, or just she?
Both.
So you tried to make it a warm, close, intimate relationship.
As best we could, yes.
And when you needed some help, she offered to help you.
Correct.
What do you think that I think of a person who understands the word close, warm, affectionate? What do you think that I think of a person who says, okay, I'll go with you to this very, very sad time? Someone who I've been close and intimate with for months, so I'm going to spend a couple of hours in the afternoon with you at this very tough time, but it's going to cost you $900, which is in effect exactly what you said, but it's going to cost you $900. Let us assume that I believe you, a reasonable ex-boyfriend who wanted to be, as you said, I didn't want her to have to come and chase me. I wanted to assure her. So a reasonable ex-boyfriend would say, sure, I'll keep you company.
In theory, yes. There were circumstances when Miss Davies and I broke up that were not the best for either of us. And it wasn't a cordial breakup. It was very rocky. At the time when she called and asked me to come, I didn't want to speak to her at all.
I would have respected that, sir. You say, this was very rocky, it was nasty, we don't really like each other anymore, or I don't like you anymore. I don't know how she feels about you, and it's really not something that I want to do. I don't want to be involved with that. I could actually understand that, if it was acrimonious, as you say. What I can't understand is somebody saying, I'll go with you, but it's going to cost you $900. That's what I don't understand.
Well, she brought that up. She was the one that stated that she would relieve the debt. And I was like, okay, whatever. So
okay, Miss Davy, now it's up to you. Now I have been grilling Mr. Miller. So I have only one question to you. Do you remember the conversation when you discussed with him going with you to the vet?
Yes, I have it in text.
I'd like to see it.
Judge,
Speak not.
Okay.
Unless you have the text messages.
This is the date I called to make the vet appointment.
Sarah, can you tell me what dates these are?
Sure. If you go out, these were all Saturday, July 9th, and if you pull over, you can see the time.
Well, I'm looking at all these, and I don't see anything about her saying to you, if you come with me, I'll forgive your debt. So if you have one of those, I'll take a look at it.
The very top one. That was after a phone conversation with Miss Davies?
Just a second. Where does it say she's forgiven your debt?
The very top one, I believe it says you won't have to pay for a thing.
No.
And that was...
No. Miller, you know what I'm talking about, sir. She tells you to keep your gas receipts. So if you're coming to help her, it's not going to cost you anything out of pocket. This doesn't say she's forgiven your debt. You have family, you have siblings, parents, anything?
Yes.
Yeah, well, they're going to be disappointed in you, Mr. Miller, because it's not princely activity. It was clear to me from reading the plaintiff's notes to you that at least it appeared that she was struggling more with the end of your relationship than you were. That's just what it appears. And I'm a pretty good judge of that. And you sound like an intelligent man, soulless, but yet intelligent. So if you have any emotion whatsoever, you can look at this and say, this is a lady who's sort of struggling. Let me see how I can take advantage of that. I owe her $900. And I'm going to figure out that if I do this for her and it's really important, I shouldn't have to pay her back the $900. Unprincely, Mr. Miller. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $900. We're finished here.
This court is adjourned.
Isaac Uno is suing his former tenants, Ann V. Kelly and Kevin Jackson, for unpaid rent and property damage.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Hello, Judge. Case number 2116, Uno versus Kelly Jackson.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Mr. Uno, you purchased a duplex home, 2 different apartments.
That's correct.
In what month and year did you purchase the home?
November of 2020.
And when you purchased it, one of the duplexes was occupied by the defendants.
That's correct.
It is your claim that they owe you for rent
Yes.
and for property damage.
That's correct.
They are no longer there.
No.
Mr. Jackson?
Yes.
How long were you and your wife living in the duplex before November of 2020?
We moved in June of 2019.
And at the time, do you recall who your landlord was in June of 2019?
Yes.
Between June of 2019, when you first moved in, and November of 2020, when the plaintiff bought the property, was there any work done on that property?
Not at all.
No maintenance?
No maintenance.
Okay. So from the time you moved in, the prior owner did no maintenance on that property, did no painting?
Just the minor stuff before we moved in. They just painted and just had everything looking nice, the floors.
So just a second. So the prior owner painted the premises and did the floors?
Yes, it was carpet and some flooring in the kitchen.
And Mr. Uno did not do any other painting or flooring or any cosmetic work on the duplex when he purchased it in November of 2020?
No.
So whatever was there by the previous owner of the property is still there?
Yes.
I'm just asking you this because your counterclaim is for child endangerment, and the child endangerment is because of lead paint. That's what you write here.
Yes.
He didn't put in the lead paint, right?
Yes, thinking about that.
He didn't paint it. You don't know when it was painted. Maybe it was painted by the prior owner. How do you know? By the way, do you have medical records of the child that you claim has lead poisoning?
Yes.
I'd like to see them. May I see them? I have no idea what this says.
That's the piece of paper that he gave me from the hospital.
Well, I don't understand
for
it.
blood work.
I'm not a doctor, so I can't.
Okay.
We have something from the health department also stating that because my son his lead was found in his system, they got involved.
I understand that. He did not paint the apartment.
No, ma'am.
When you, just for my own curiosity, when you bought this place, do you remember the purchase of it? And when you purchase a property, usually there's an inspection.
Yes.
And one of the questions usually has to do with lead paint. Do you remember any of that from when you purchased the property?
I didn't receive any notification of lead paint from the inspectors.
Well, usually they sign off that there is no lead paint.
I don't remember seeing because they never mentioned anything about it.
Nothing about lead paint?
No.
Okay. Did you ever have the home tested, by the way, for lead?
Only when we found out about my son having lead.
Okay. And do you have the test result?
And there was lead found in 2 places, not just the bathtub.
Miss Kelly, the issue is he didn't do any of that painting.
Right.
He bought the place. You had been living there for a year and a half before he bought the place.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
Okay. And your son was born within that year and a half.
Well, we moved there, he was 6 months.
He was 6 months old, so he lived there for a year and a half even before he purchased it.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
We did buy the things to fix the bathroom up. He told us to take them back to fix the tub and everything because we asked him to fix it. So the things we had, like to get the tub fixed, the flooring and everything, he told us to take back.
How many people were living in the duplex?
In our apartment?
In your apartment?
4.
4. Including the baby?
Yes, ma'am.
Including the baby. And how old's the other child?
She's 14.
Okay. Do you have that report?
No. This is just stating where it was at.
The health department?
Yes, I thought that piece of paper that I gave you was that one.
No.
This is just
doesn't say
This is just showing where the lead was found in the house.
How old is this duplex?
It was built in 1906, so almost 115 years or so.
Yeah. And they certainly used lead paint
Possibly,
then.
yeah, I'm not sure about
I'm
it.
not sure.
I don't
But,
understand about it.
Ms. Kelly, Mr. Jackson, that's not his fault. That's not his fault. So now I would like to know, Mr. Uno is suing you for rent. And I'd like to know first, how much rent were you paying?
$750.
And that's what you were paying under the old lease?
Yes.
And were you current on your rent when Mr. Uno took over the property?
Yes.
In November of 2020?
Yes.
So far correct?
That's accurate.
When did you stop paying rent?
December of 2021.
So you paid rent for a year?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you working, Mr. Jackson?
Yes, when I first moved in, yes, I was working 2 jobs.
And were you working from November of 2020 to December of 2021?
Yes, I was. It was.
For whom?
Yes, I was. I was working for TGI Fridays.
And Ms. Kelly, were you working?
No, ma'am, I'm disabled.
And how much were you receiving in pay?
I was only getting...
If you have to think about it, you don't remember.
Yeah, I wasn't getting too much because it was during COVID, and I was working at a restaurant, and I was only allowed to work 3 days out of the week.
Okay. And what happened in December of 2021?
What happened was he already sent us a letter previously saying that he wanted to go up on the rent to a...
Okay.
Yes, to
so you had no
$1,000.
lease anymore, and he wanted to raise the rent.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Isaac Uno claims his former tenants, Ann V. Kelly and Kevin Jackson, owe for unpaid rent and property damage. Ann V. and Kevin are countersuing for child endangerment and a constructive eviction.
And in what month was that?
He sent it to us, I want to say...
Do you remember, Mr. Uno?
It was 90 days before the 1st of December, so that would have been, I think, September 31st or October 31st. Maybe.
That he was raising the rent to what?
To $1,000 a month.
Effective December.
Yes, December 1st.
And what happened in December?
We were, at that time, looking for a new apartment, and at that time it was hard because around that time, a lot of the rent was going up from just being like $800, $900 to like $1,200 to $1,400 for rent for a month there.
Don't speak.
Okay.
And that was, why we stopped paying rent, because we were actually looking for a house, even when he gave us the 90 days.
Okay. So, Mr. Jackson, based upon what you just told me, so stop shaking your head, based upon what you told me, your landlord gave you 90 days notice that if you wish to stay on, he was raising your rent to $1,000 a month.
Yes.
And you started to look around for a new place.
Yes.
And the new places were very expensive.
Yes.
And you didn't find a place.
No.
So you decided to stay in this place.
No.
So what did you do?
We...
So if you didn't find a place
we decided
in December...
We were trying to stay there until we found a place.
I assume they paid rent in September.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
In October?
Yes.
Yes.
They paid rent in October?
Yes.
Good. And November?
November was the last month that they paid.
So they paid in November?
Yes.
So you stopped paying rent in December of 2021?
Yes.
No, you cannot.
Okay.
If I need you,
Yes,
I'll
ma'am.
come to you.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
Okay?
Okay.
Because so far he's doing fine. You stopped paying rent in December of 2021. Tell me why.
We didn't want to live there ourselves anymore either, but it was just a lot of things going on at the house. Like after my father passed away, and he first gave us the first eviction notice, because he gave us more than one.
Just a second.
Okay, I'm sorry.
We're skipping over.
Okay.
He didn't give you an eviction notice, I assume, until you stopped paying rent.
No, before December, he gave us like 3 of them, I think. I want to say 3.
Really?
Yes.
Why were you trying to evict them before?
They had torn up the carpet upstairs. It was a moratorium for evictions, but there was a stipulation that emergency evictions for nuisance tenants could be granted before then.
Is there any reason why you took up the carpets?
Yes, the same thing. Before he took over, everything was in the house before that, and we complained to the previous owner that the carpet was already dirty. They said that they were going to come and shampoo it, but never did. Like, we would walk and our socks would be black, our feet would be black, so we wanted to take the carpet up. It was dirty to us. And I myself actually told him about it. I went downstairs to his apartment because he lived downstairs from us. Talked to him about it. He came upstairs and I showed him a section of the carpet that wasn't even connected to the floor. You can lift up the whole carpet and like across a whole section of the wall. And then when I did that, he seen that the hardwood looked kind of decent. And then instead of putting new carpet on, he wanted the hardwood to get sanded down and just get stained and and lacquered over.
So you took the carpet off?
Yes.
I believe you. Sounds right, Mr. Uno. Okay. And that was the reason that you used to try to evict them before?
Yes, that was the first one. But I don't agree with his statement.
Well, what statement don't you agree with?
Well, a number of things that he said. I didn't authorize him. We spoke. I asked him in the first meeting if there was anything that they wanted to have spruced up or anything as a good gesture, and they took it upon themselves to take up the carpet without my permission.
Okay, not a huge deal. not a huge deal. You can use it as a huge deal if you want your tenants out because you can re-rent that duplex for substantially more money.
It was more about their conduct, that they were being very disturbing behavior and just being off the wall. So I wanted them out for a lot of reasons.
Well, I know, but only one of them qualified under the eviction moratorium.
Yes, for emergency of dismantling the
Only
place.
one, and that would have been the carpet. Okay, Mr. Jackson.
Yes.
I'm back to you, sir. I haven't figured out yet. You stopped paying rent in December, and you moved out in what month?
We didn't move out until June.
June. So January, February, March, April, and May. Let's say 5 months' rent that you didn't pay, correct?
Yes.
Why?
Can I speak, Your Honor?
No, him. Tell me why you didn't pay the 5 months' rent, Mr. Jackson.
We just figured that, we didn't figure. We didn't want to pay him $1,000 because to us.
Okay, so let's say you didn't want to pay him $1,000, even though you just told me finding another place would be more expensive, right? We said $1,200, $1,400, but you didn't give him $750. You gave him $0 for those 5 months. So I'm going to come back to you, Mr. Jackson. Does your wife receive disability payments because of her disability?
Yes.
Yes. How much a month?
That I don't know.
How much a month do you receive, Ms. Kelly?
$1,000.
$1,000. And did you continue to receive that $1,000 every month from December until June?
Yes, ma'am.
You see, certain things remain constant. Your disability payments remain constant.
Right.
If you live in an apartment and you have the same sort of income, then you pay rent.
Right.
And if you didn't pay $1,000, so I hear you. Well, that's what he said he wanted. And he's the landlord. And he's allowed to do that if you're going to stay in his premises. But you paid nothing, Mr. Jackson, and that's what I don't understand.
Well, the furnace was busted.
Just a second.
Yeah.
Miss Kelly.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
What? You paid nothing.
Yeah, nothing. Yeah.
Where did you move in June?
Moved in the same area, like probably 10 minutes away from that particular street.
Is it a private house or an apartment?
It's a house. Well, it's a duplex as well.
Duplex. So the same sort of setup. And how much rent are you paying?
Pay $950.
So almost as much as he wanted in his rent. But are you more comfortable in that unit?
Yes.
Okay.
Claims his tenants, Envy Kelly and Kevin Jackson, owe for unpaid rent and property damage. Envy and Kevin claim Isaac forced them to leave.
Now, you saved over 5 months, let's say minimally $750.
$37.50.
$37.50. Now, Mr. The only question that I have to ask you is, Mr. Jackson and Miss Kelly say that they filled out some sort of forms for rent relief during COVID, and you signed it. And they say you received money from the state for any unpaid rent. Did you receive any money from the state for rent that they didn't pay?
No, I approached them with an application, but the program that funds the landlord relief for the moratorium was only open for 1 month, and I came and went and I missed it and I never got it. So I did have them fill out something. It was just a hardship thing, but they didn't give me the money for it. I never received anything.
So you didn't receive any money. So far, Miss Kelly and Mr. Jackson, you owe Mr. $3,750 for rent that you didn't pay while you occupied his premises. You, your furniture, your children, I don't care what it is. That's what you didn't pay. And you can't save up your money and not pay your landlord. That's his business. Just like you work for Fridays and you get your pay when you're supposed to, that's his business. He bought a house. He was counting on the income from that house to pay some of his expenses, and you didn't pay it. Well, there's no question you have to pay it. Now you have a counterclaim. I've already gotten rid of child endangerment. This is 150 years old. Constructive eviction. So I'd like you to tell me your allegations of constructive eviction.
Is that like from him not doing anything to the apartment while we lived there?
I assume. You say you were constructively evicted.
Yes, he...
But you didn't leave.
Yes, he has a couple of text messages in here where he says that he actually came up to the apartment to check things. He brought up when he first got there in November, we didn't have a working toilet until...
Just a second.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
So before he bought it, Is that what you're telling me?
I mean, not before. I'm sorry. When he got the apartment in November, the previous owners, we were trying to contact to see who we pay for rent.
Just a second.
Okay, yeah.
He bought the duplex in November of 2020.
Yes.
Is what you're telling me, Mr. Jackson, that certain things weren't working prior to his purchasing the property?
No, I'm sorry. I want to take that back. After he purchased it, we didn't even know he purchased it because he was living downstairs, and my wife walked down there and asked, was he the landlord? And he just said that he was the building manager. So nobody even got rent for the month of November when we lived there, not him or even the previous people, because he didn't even come upstairs to introduce us.
Well,
but,
I wouldn't complain about that, sir, if you're ahead of the game so far. If you didn't pay rent for November. You didn't pay the prior landlord and you didn't pay him. So far you're ahead $750. Okay, keep going.
Go back to the November. Yeah, so during November, our toilet got stopped up, like right before Thanksgiving.
So shortly after he purchased it, he hadn't been up in the apartment, right?
No, not
just
at all.
you, your wife, your teenage daughter, and the baby.
Yeah, and the kids.
Okay, and the toilet got stopped up, and
he brought in a plumber, and then the guy found out that my son put a little toy in there, and he actually got the toy out.
So the toilet was broken by your son. Okay, so now the plumber said, here's the toy. Kid threw a toy down the toilet. Not an unusual, and
then the very next month in December, my son didn't put anything down there. The toilet started acting up again. It wouldn't flush for like all the way up until the next year, and it never got fixed. But it was from...
Well, you had to have, sir, you lived there with 3 adults. So there had to be a functioning toilet in the house.
It wasn't functioning.
So where did you go to use a functioning restroom?
Her mom lived up the street from us, so sometimes we lived up the street, or sometimes we would just still use the toilet.
Okay. You owe him $3,750 for rent that you didn't pay. Counterclaims dismissed. We're finished. Thank you very much.
This court is adjourned.
एक हरे भरे जंगल में सब जानवर खुशी से रहते थे। हर तरफ दरख्तों की सरसब्जी थी और सूरज की किरणें दरख्तों से गुजरकर नीचे आ रही थी। हाथी, हिरन, तोते और चीते खुशी खुशी खेल रहे थे। परिंदे आसमान में आजादाना अलिफारती हुए चमक रहे थे। जंगल का माहौल सुकून भरा था। फिर अचानक शेर का गिरोह जंगल में दाखिल हो गया। शेर बड़े गुस्से में आकर दहाड़ने लगे। सब जानवर खौफ के मारे दरख्तों और झाड़ियों में छुपने लगे। जंगल का पुरअमन माहौल एकदम खौफ में बदल गया। इसी दौरान एक अक्लमंद पुराना उल्लू दरख्त की एक ऊंची टहनी पर बैठा और सब जानवरों को इकट्ठा करने के लिए आवाज दी। सब जानवर इसके अर्द गिर्द जमा हो गए और इसे गौर से सुनने लगे। उल्लू ने कहा, हम सबको मिलकर अपने जंगल का तहफ्फुज करना होगा। हाथियों ने अपनी ताकत से रास्ते रोक दिए। चीते अपनी तेज दौड़ से शेर को परेशान करने लगे। तोते ऊंची उड़ान भरकर जंगल भर में खबरदार करते जा रहे थे। हिरन दरख्तों और झाड़ियों के पीछे छपकर शेर की नकलो हरकत पर नजर रखे हुए थे। शेर जानवरों की इस मजबूत और मुत्तहिद हिकमत अमली से परेशान हो गए। आखिरकार वो शिकस्त खाकर जंगल छोड़कर भाग गए। सब जानवर खुश होकर एक दूसरे को गिले लगाने लगे और जश्न मनाने लगे। जंगल में अमन वापस आ चुका था। सब जानवर मिलकर खुशी मनाने लगे और एक दूसरे से अहद किया कि वो हमेशा अपने जंगल का तहफ्फुज करेंगे। वो जानते थे कि जब तक वो एक साथ होंगे, जंगल हमेशा महफूज रहेगा।